Good morning, friends on YouTube and Facebook. I am Joey Only, your host of the weather show every morning. I just thought I'd do something a little funny there, try to get your attention. Hello! Hello! The atmospheric river is almost over here in British Columbia. Almost! And a little bit of winter's coming. Not nearly as cold as maybe we thought it was going to get. That's fine by me. At least there's snow coming. At least. Okay. Let's go!
Sketched out. Big moose. Getting angrier. Now if you jump off the roof. There she goes. You never know what can happen. They're going on, you know. Here she comes. That's pretty close. It's January, and if I don't shovel this snow, it's going to destroy my chimney. Take it right off. January, and it's all sliding. Usually this is kind of like a late February, March thing where the snow pack will just stay on the roof all winter. So we just had a crazy event here in British Columbia. Crazy. Yeah, it was. And people don't want to admit it, but it was pretty crazy. We had 10,000 people without power in Prince George at one point. We had roads washing out through Lytton area. We had floods in Squamish, in Pemberton, Cowichan. We had 780 millimeters of rain in the middle of Vancouver Island, measured 90 mile per hour winds. It's 144 kilometers an hour at Solander Island last night. So that's what I do is I just cut a line up the middle from the chimney. As you can see, I'm still in my pajamas and I'm in running shoes, shoveling snow on the roof because I'm Joey. I don't give a shit. That's how I roll, Holmes. These have been some pretty intense storms. But meanwhile, we've broken temperature records across the board. So let's have a look at just yesterday alone, the 30th of January, and look at some of these significant records. And I figure if I wear running shoes, that'll make me not fall off the roof, because I know what happens when I fall down there and land up to my, in some places, chest, or some years up almost over my head into the snow. And there was times where I had to wait till spring to get my boots back. For example, Airdrie at 15.4. They've been keeping records in Airdrie since 1881. My God, I got the hiccups again. As soon as I start recording a goddamn fucking weather thing, I got fucking hiccups every time. January 26th, and it is pouring in Quesnel. Just absolutely pouring. It's raining so bad that Kenny can't even stand it. He hates it. Ah! Go away, hiccups. Banff breaks its record by 1.5 degrees. That was set in 1887. No, that was records have been kept since 1887 there. So that's still, it's a record since 1962. So 60-year record plus. Bow Island, so these are places that are breaking records. Not all of them. It's 1961. Still a long time they've been keeping records there. But, this 1928 guy, that gives us a better idea. I was just in the dollar store and this guy kind of walks up and he's like, says to the cashier, "Hey, do you have any fire starter here?" And I'm like, "What? Fire starter?" And then she's like, "I don't know." And he walks away and I mouth at her, "Paper." Significant breakage. Well, Crow's Nest, 11.5. The old record set in 1989 was 8. So I'd call that significant. Edmonton broke its old record by 10.4, by 3 degrees or whatever. They've been keeping records there since 59. Edson, Esther, Hendrickson, High River, High Vale, which broke its record by 3 degrees. So that's quite good. Some of these are pretty high temperatures. Medicine Hat, 15. Milk River, 15.2. So that smashes its old record. Nordegg, 14.3, smashes its old record. They've been keeping records in Nordegg since 1915. 1.4 smashes its record, 1928. They've been keeping since there. Red Earth Creek smashes for sure. Although only since 1994 they've been keeping records there. Not such a big deal. Rocky Mountain House, Sundre. I call that smashing. Yes. Although, again, not keeping records that long there. Vegreville breaks it. Wainwright significantly breaks it. Waterton Park breaks it by 1.3 degrees. So it's January 27th, and the snow is almost completely off of my roof. This has never happened. And you see this pile here that slid off. Generally, there's enough snow there that I can toboggan off the roof, as you've seen over the years. Kids, you know, I've seen Aprils where there's this much snow. This would be not alarming at all to have this much snow in April. 4 degrees Celsius.
Now, what about British Columbia here? Okay, here's when we get to some of the, wow, look at this. Look at this. Abbotsford, this significant breakage. They've been keeping records there since the Second World War. Significant breakage, 18.4 degrees. Agassiz, 17.1, significant breakage. They've been keeping records in Agassiz since 1889. So we know a long time it's not been 17 degrees ever in Agassiz. You know, and so there's a lot of these records. Penticton broke its all-time high for January. So some of these breakages won't just be a daily record. They could be, in some cases, all-time records. And Saskatchewan had an all-time record. Blue River, Cache Creek breaks it by a degree plus. That's good. Dease Lake, Esquimalt, Estevan, Hope, Lytton tied its record of 15. Mackenzie set a record. What else? Puncie. Even Puncie Mountain was 8.1 degrees. Prince George tied its record of 12.2. Quesnel broke its record. They've been keeping records in Quesnel since 1893. 1893. Okay. Last time it was even close to this was 1997. Seashelt just breaks it. Sparwood breaks it significantly, 11.1 over 7.2. Squamish, Victoria, West Vancouver is good breakage there. Whistler, Williams Lake breaks by a degree. Yoho breaks by over a degree. Now, some of the records for the highest minimum temperatures in January are listed below. So that's Abbotsford, 10.8. That's the lowest it got all day. Okay, so these are some of the lowest temperatures it's seen all day. It never got colder than 9.8 in Duncan. So that's they've been keeping records in Duncan since 1913, right? So these are just good examples of some places. Richmond never got colder than 10.9 degrees. That's spring weather. They've been keeping records in Richmond since 1896. These aren't insignificant records. Salmon Arm set a low of 2.4. 1893. Long time.
Downtown Quesnel on a January day. Doesn't feel very January-like though, does it?
Nope.
What does it feel like? Feels like Venus.
Hot.
So quite a bit of that, and that's not even looking at rain. Even Manitoba breaking some records for temperature. Carberry 5.7, 7.9, and Carmen. They've been keeping records in Carmen since 1895. Okay. Some other significant ones. Dauphin got to 8.5, and they've been keeping records there since 1890. Long time they've been doing that. 14.2 in McCreary. That smashes the old record. Smashes it completely. And, you know, that's on and on and on. Northwest Territories, daily maximum temperatures. Some of these, well, look at this. Fort Liard, 8.6. So there was a time it was almost that warm back in 1976. Fort Providence, 6.4. They've only been keeping records since 1943 there. So definitely that's smashing the record in Port Providence. Smashing it.
Crazy. It was like 6 degrees at 1:30 in the morning last night. Came out and had a look. And now it's like, I'd say 7. 29th of January, 2024. Everything's melting. It's raining. It's been raining in Wells. The atmospheric river is pounding the coast. Some of that moisture is getting inland still. And almost for the first time in history, there will be no snow on my roof at this time of the year. Crazy.
And here's Saskatchewan. Smash Saskatchewan there in Assiniboia. 13.7. That's like more than doubles the old record. So that's pretty good. Coronach, 16.3 degrees, more than doubles the old record. Now we're seeing like some wow numbers here. Of course, Cypress, 14.3. Elbow at 10.8. That doubles its old record. Estevan, 8.7. They've been keeping records since 1900 there. Indian Head, they've been keeping records since 1883. They'd never had a 7.9 degree day. Kindersley, last mountain in Saskatchewan that's left. Almost doubled. Lucky Lake doubled its records. Maple Creek, 21. There it is. 21.1 degrees. Old record of 14.1 set in 1993. Records have been kept in Maple Creek since 1915. A long goddamn time. And same with Moose Jaw, where they've been keeping records since 1894. We got a 16-degree day. Wow, look at some of these numbers in Saskatchewan. So these are pretty impressive. Swift Current got up to 17.2. Its old record was 8.9. They've been keeping records in Swift Current since 1885. That's a long time. Who else got that warm? Waskesiu got 11.3. Not bad, not bad. Weyburn got 12.9. So some pretty crazy temperatures. Yukon breaking records, 5.8. Significant in Faro, yeah, I'd say significant breakage, 5.5. Teslin did pretty good. Watson Lake, 6.8. Minimum temperature, the old record was 7.8. In Burwash, 1.5. So these are some telling numbers here. Minimum temperatures. So it never got colder than this all day. And that's not what the Yukon does. What's going on in British Columbia right now?
There goes more of it. It's coming off. All the snow on the roof is coming off. It's never happened before. It's totally fucked up. Crazy. It's raining out, Kenny. It's raining. Totally raining right now, buddy. It's January 29th. Snow's coming off the roof. It's raining. It's weird. It's happening.
We got that transition going on. So right now, of course, we have that secondary storm coming in and hitting the coast today. But meanwhile, up in the Pine Pass, freezing rain. Mackenzie and Pine Pass this morning. And I think this other, if you click on this guy here, it's got more to say. Frontal system moving through. No, it doesn't really say much more. So, okay. That is happening right now.
Crazy blasts of wind going on here at Wells right now. Sounded like the roof was about to rip off at one point.
And also, we continue down there in the Lower Mainland. Howe Sound still getting that rainfall warning. They could get 50 millimeters today in Howe Sound. So, that's pretty significant numbers. And these special weather statements do remain. New one today from the 31st, now through midweek. What does it say? Heavy rainfall, 5 to 10 degrees above normal. So this is basically the exact same special weather statement we've had for days. All they did was change the date. Nobody has written anything new since Friday! God, Environment Canada, give us something. Give us details. That's why you're here, because you need details, and they aren't giving it to you. And it's not the meteorologist's fault. No, it's the amount of funding that our government is giving to what I think are key infrastructure for dealing with climate change. Anyways, over 8 degrees Celsius. Here it's 4,000 feet above sea level. The snowboards have been blown out. The wind is just whistling, howling. Welcome to January 30th, 2024. Unfucking believable. Listen to it. It sounds like some of those trees are taking a blasting. It's so windy. It's so dark I can barely see anything through the camera. I can with my eyes, of course. This just gives you an idea how hard it's raging right now up in the mountaintops. It must be absolutely incredible. Here's the group I run, Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, and we'll just have a quick peek here. 90-mile-an-hour winds at 1:30 last night in Solander Island, off the coast of Vancouver Island. That's hurricane-strength winds. Check this out, my friends. Large, heavy insulated shop roof blew completely off overnight in North Qualicum Beach. Very strange, there was no substantial damage in the area. She was wondering if it was a small landspout. I said almost certainly not. Here's what's official we got so far. Dawson Creek Airport, 105 peak. Prince George, 93. Pemberton hit 92. Chetwynd, 82. So some pretty strong numbers. Even Williams Lake Airport hit 66 in there. People in Williams Lake were saying. And 2 days ago, Solander Island hit 65 kilometers an hour. That
smashed last night. January 30th in Wells, BC. We do have some open water down there actually running. That's unusual in Wells, January 30th. Here's a hillside that's exposed, doesn't have snow on it. Nobody has ever seen that in January in Wells. That's just never happened. No matter who you fucking are, you cannot convince me otherwise. And this is the shape of this next storm that was coming in yesterday. That's not what it looks like today. Today it's much less organized, certainly, but quite the shape of this secondary storm that came in is hitting today. I use the word mid-latitude cyclone. That's what that is. You can see the dry, cold air coming in and the warm, moist air, and the two of them are just spinning right up and doing battle. Pretty cool. But my use of the word cyclone should set those atmospheric river fear-mongering head terms spinning. So this is the point. This is the point, people. People were laughing at my posts, okay? People were laughing at me saying that we were going to have floods and bad wind and snow melting, landslides. Of course we did. We had landslides, multiples. We had rocks on roads, giant boulders the size of Volkswagens coming down on roads in the middle of the night. And people laugh at me when I make these kind of forecasts and say, clearly your left-wing cuckoo is just out to spread climate change hysteria. You know, God damn it, man. Last night when that wind came through and hit Prince George that we got here, it came with extra aggression. People reported red and blue lightning, so I suspect that maybe there was hail in there as part of why there was different colors. And power outages, so big time. It's very warm today, Tuesday, sunshiny, but if in the upper atmosphere in the distance, you can see that there's more coming. There's another storm lining up, and we're catching a break here today. That's nice, but all in all, what a crazy story. People all over BC reporting record-breaking temperatures. I think Quesnel broke their record for today at 1 a.m. And Penticton broke their all-time January warmth. We have places in Alberta that might get up to 22 degrees Celsius today. That is fucked. Flying over top of Pemberton, that's flooding right now, and that's significant. That's a lot of flooding. That's a lot of flooding for sure. That's people's properties. You're laughing when a guy like me is saying, and you're like, well, it's always, weather just does what it wants, and we've always had warm days, we've always had snow, we've always had, and we're trying to help you, trying to warn you so that if you're that guy whose house that is, maybe you have time to do something to prepare. We're trying to help you. Quit laughing at people who know more than you do. Some of the records that were broken, not yesterday, but the day before, on Monday, Dawson Creek hit 15.1, Chetwynd 14.6, Fort Nelson 14.3, Alberta had Nordegg getting up to 16, Hendrickson Creek 15.3. These are very high numbers. Even Yukon, Watson Lake hit a monthly record of 10 degrees Celsius. A bunch of these are monthly records. Dawson Creek, that's the highest ever recorded in January there. Alberta, Nordegg, and Hendrickson, those are the high level. Highest temperatures ever recorded in the month of January there. Okay, this isn't hysteria. This is numbers and data. This is what people experience, and this is what happened. Hillsides right in town, more exposed than they are through most of April. Unbelievable. And yet people just keep laughing at me. We got ice breaking up on lakes. Here's Dead Man's hot spot in Abbotsford, 18.2 degrees 2 nights ago. Wild, man. This is wild. 32 power outages still yesterday morning. There was 10,000 at one time, but still, about this time yesterday morning, there was still 3,000 people without. Here's my friend Peggy here in Wells. The wind, plus the ice that was in the driveway, actually pushed her truck off the driveway into the laneway. That's the golf course in Pemberton. It's called Big Sky Golf Course, but today it looks like the Big C. That was yesterday, actually. These images from yesterday, too.
these are different floodings in Pemberton yesterday, just before sunset. That's the airport. There's downtown Route 99. Here you go. You can see the flood happening. We watch this. And the raining, and the melt in the rain, and the melt in the rain starts, and here it comes. All of a sudden, everyone in Pemberton woke up to a lot of water. And here's some airplanes in the water that I do not believe are de Havilland beavers that shouldn't be in the water.
I make posts predicting floods, and people laugh at me. I share government site that says floods are occurring now, and people laugh at me.
Oh yeah, and when the power went out in Prince George, there was reports of red and blue lightning. What makes red and blue lightning, Joey? Well, it can be particles in the air, dust, and things like that can change the color of lightning, as well as hail and different kinds of rain and snow and sleet. So I would suspect that there was a mix of different kinds of precipitation going on in that storm. So the ice fishing tournament in Prince George is postponed until there's safe ice. They don't have safe ice. The Groundhog Trail that goes up to the top of our mountain here, it's closed because we're concerned the creek is going to wash the trail out. Okay, here's our storm for today. 963 low, pretty low out there on the coast. This is what's going on is that a lot of the precipitation is hitting up along Oregon and California. It's hitting up along here, and it's not quite getting into BC quite the same. Nonetheless, some is, and some significant rain for sure. So we're not quite done with this yet. And you're going to watch this storm. It's going to put a lot of its energy down here. In fact, California is who's going to be getting it worst the next bunch of days, really, in reality. So this starts to move out. And now we're into Friday. We're still getting some precipitation into BC, sure, along that coast. That low hasn't really broken up. We got the North Pacific High, which usually sits closer off the coast of California. This year it's been wandering around a lot, the North Pacific High. And right now that's helping steer, which will eventually help steer some cooler weather south as well at the same time, right? So that will help with bringing temperatures back down a little bit in BC. Not quite as low as maybe we thought they were going to get to, but below zero coming in BC nonetheless. So this storm's actually going to slide down the coast, and it's going to continue to just hammer the United States for quite a while. And it's going to be responsible for setting in layers of moisture that, well, here we go. In Texas could create thunderstorms. We could have some pretty big snowstorms up through places like Colorado and Wyoming and stuff like that. You see Saturday, that storm still hasn't come ashore. It just keeps moving down the coast. Now it's going to connect with this sort of weak low, and the two are going to link up, and it's going to go for another whole run. And watch what it does to California. So into Sunday, Frankie's talking about big time rain for Los Angeles, big time precipitation, big time in the mountain snow. Look at that. So California, it's getting its own full-on sort of atmospheric river story. So will not be so much a BC story. That will be a California story. What's going on in BC at that time? Well, we'll finally starting to be hit some temperatures coming down a little lower. Although, like I said, we're not talking as crazy cold as maybe we thought it might try to get to in BC. We got nighttime high. I'm just picking a random spot in the mountains, just more or less in the middle of the Caribou, somewhere, right? Sort of representative of like north and south. If you go a little further north, you see that some of that cold actually is living up there, which is, great. That's the north. You can have it minus 18. Doesn't want to come too far north. South until maybe into the new week. We might get moments of that cold air. You might have some chilly night here or there, but all in all, it looks to me like the Arctic air mass is going to get steered over to here into northern Ontario, northern Quebec, eventually into northern Manitoba, up to Churchill, where our buddy Joe lives. So they can expect to see some pretty cold weather coming up. That's the thing. So we're pretty much coming to the end of disaster. Look at this down in Quebec now. Next week, Wednesday the 7th, if this happens, we could have some pretty cold temperatures in places of Canada that don't get that kind temperature too often. It happens. I've seen minus 30s when I lived in Ontario. It happens for sure, but not like northern Alberta, Saskatchewan get. Here's a cold blast of air that we'll have to look and see what this does later in February. It could take a run south. I don't know. We'll see. As for now, though, I say we're returning to moderately winter temperatures, seasonal winter temperatures, more or less, in BC into the weekend. We gotta survive out a couple more days of this stormy, warmy weather. It will pass. I'd like to thank all my patrons and supporters and sponsors very much.
I would just like the world to know how thankful I am to my patrons and supporters. Thank you, everybody!
I hope that just gave you a little bit of an idea of some of the crazy things that happened in British Columbia over the last few days. Certainly, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Lots of floods, crops ruined in Abbotsford. In some ways, maybe we got lucky though. I wasn't willing to predict that this would be as bad as the Abbotsford 2020 atmospheric river, and it wasn't. Like I was saying in my past video, you got the head of the hose is moving up and down the coast, and when it finally sometimes just stalls in one place and floods that one place really bad, that's what happened to Abbotsford. Certainly, some of the rain totals have been crazy nonetheless, and it could have been worse, right? So, and maybe next time it will, maybe next time it won't. But don't laugh from now on when I'm trying to warn you, okay? Otherwise, you're a fucking asshole. Okay, bye.